Please turn on your camera if you were scared of gaining the freshman 15. Please turn on your camera if you hadn't done your laundry before coming to college. Please turn on your camera if you were afraid to be at a new school.
After graduating from high school and starting college is a life-changing experience. We are no longer considered kids, but adults who have chosen to continue on with their education. However, what happens if you've gone to a previous school and you had received a degree and decided to pursue your studies? Or you just never really found your way with your old institution, or you just need a fresh start? Well, that's my story. I am a transfer student. I had received my associate's degree from a community college and decided to pursue a bachelor's degree. I found my way at Framingham State University. I have joined many clubs like the dance team, the American Sign Language Club. I was working at school events, and I found my way with a great group of friends.
Please turn on your camera if college was your first experience away from home. Please turn on your camera if you are afraid of change.
Please turn on your camera if you learned an important lesson in college.
Throughout high school, I always thought I had to be perfect. So I took difficult classes and I played sports and I joined clubs. But none of those things really made me happy. I was just overworking myself and I became so stressed out that I didn't want to do any of those things anymore. But I realized that I should just try my best and choose things that actually make me happy, because life is about progress, not perfection. It's about trying your best, not being perfect. And as long as your best is enough for yourself, it doesn't matter what other people's bests look like or what they think of your best. You shouldn't live your life for anyone other than yourself. When I finally started living my life for myself and choosing things that made me happy, I was finally able to be proud of myself, for who I am and for the things that I accomplish. I used to just be proud of when other people were proud of me, so I tried to have all these accomplishments and achievements so that others would be proud of me. But I realized that I can just be proud of me for being me and for trying my best, even if I don't have a trophy to show for it. So I hope that you can choose things that make you happy and always try your best and keep making progress.
Please turn on your camera if you have or plan to study abroad. Please turn on your camera if you are a commuter.
I always knew that when I went to college that I would want to commute. For me, the accessibility, freedom, and flexibility of having my own transportation was always appealing. Framingham has so many supports for students like me, from the commuter meal plans, shuttles from parking locations, and lots of quiet locations to go in between classes. Commuters also can participate in nearly all of the same events as residents. Everyone's college experience is different, and it's okay, and I encourage you to find your own path.
Please turn on your camera if you are worried about disappointing your family based on your GPA and grades. Please turn on your camera if you have experienced the effects of drug and alcohol abuse in your family.
Hey everyone, so something I struggled with when coming to FSU was an alcohol problem. It started when I was 15, and I used it to help me cope with the day-to-day operations of life and how I would move through high school and, associate with different people, such as my so-called friends, etc. So it was tough, and it kind of got worse through high school, and then I took a break, and then as soon as university started, I went back to it because the social aspect was hard. It was hard to make friends and get out of my social bubble because I was the only person from Connecticut, so it was kind of tough. But over time, I started therapy, and I started working through the issues that were left dormant for a number of years. And while using the resources on campus, I got to a better place where I can have these honest conversations and build these interpersonal connections that made me into the leader that I am today. So I say that to say, whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're struggling with, you have a bunch of resources at the university at your disposal. People who will keep your information private and confidential. So use the resources that you have that are offered to you on this campus, because ultimately we want you to be your best self when you graduate. So that's my story.
Please turn on your camera if you weren't friends with your roommate. Please turn on your camera if you feel accepted into the FSU community.
As someone who identifies as a biracial Jewish woman, I've always struggled to find places and communities where I feel I completely belong. I've either felt like an outsider because of my religious affiliation, or felt trapped in between two different labels of race, black or white. When I first came to FSU, I was scared to join certain groups because I thought I would stand out too much. After finally going to various club meetings, stressing over trying to figure out the best fit for me, I finally realized that I didn't have to choose one place. I discovered that different parts of the campus felt comfortable for different reasons, and that was okay. I didn't need to find a club that fit all my labels like a glove. I could allow certain parts of me to shine wherever I see fit. As long as the people I was spending my time with accepted every part of me, that is what mattered. Going forward, I hope to never constrict myself to fitting perfectly into the labels that I put myself in.
Please turn on your camera if you were worried about making new friends. Please turn on your camera if you have low self-esteem.
Throughout my life, I've been an overthinker. This led to my being very shy and insecure. I had trouble putting myself out there in social settings and always envied people who were able to make connections easily. Upon coming to college, I worked very hard to step out of my comfort zone. I joined clubs, got involved in my residence hall, and applied for several on-campus jobs. The steps that I took were successful, and I ended up meeting many wonderful people in a short amount of time. As I entered my sophomore year, my close-knit group of friends grew. While I loved making new friends, I was starting to feel restricted. It seemed like every night my roommate and I would have 10 or more people over. Anytime we wanted to hang out in a smaller setting, people would invite themselves along or even get upset and feel like they were being excluded. In addition, anytime I turned down an invitation to hang out with friends, I felt guilty and worried that I was missing out. As an introvert, my energy was constantly drained, and I felt like I was missing the genuine connections that I used to get from spending time with people. I finally went to the counseling center to talk about the anxiety that I was experiencing, and learned how important it is to schedule in time for myself. I worked with my roommate, who was experiencing similar problems, to set up ground rules involving sticking to pre-established plans and checking in with each other when social situations became hectic. While it is always difficult to turn down an invitation to hang out with friends or to kick people out of my room when it gets late, it's important to set these boundaries. Not only has it infinitely improved my mental health, but I found that my friends respect me for my honesty and willingness to prioritize my needs.
Please turn on your camera if FSU has been there for you in a time of need.
Please turn on your camera if you have a learning disability. Please turn on your camera if you have depression and anxiety.
Hi, my name is Madison Bruno. I use she, her, hers, and they, them, theirs pronouns. I am an orientation leader for the 2020-2021 academic year here at FSU. And that being said, I'm also a student, much like a lot of other folks, and also somebody who has depression and anxiety. And that's never going to be easy to speak to. As much as I do speak to it, and I speak to it a lot, I would like to think that I speak to it every day. But I wanted to take the time to speak to it here because I know how important it is to hear peer-to-peer that, like, somebody is experiencing what you're experiencing on some level. Obviously, not all experiences are universal, but if I have anxiety, I know that somebody else has anxiety. And speaking as an FSU student, there have been aspects at FSU, such as resources or relationships I've made socially, that have helped me to better myself in my relationship to my depression and anxiety. And as an orientation leader, as a peer, as a student, as a friend, I want to let you know that you can also do this. That it's never going to be easy, that it's always going to happen every day, that depression and anxiety, it's a lifelong battle. But it doesn't have to be one you struggle with alone, and I think that a lot of the people here at FSU certainly have made me aware of that. And I also, as a person, as a student, as a peer, as a friend, want to make you aware of that.